Come on in. Drop a comment in the chat. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. As y'all can see, it's raining around here. But I love this type of weather, man. I ain't gonna lie. I love this type of weather. You know, it ain't raining too hard. Just a nice little rain. Water the garden, water the plants. You feel me? I know the animals enjoying it. The grass, all that. But if this rain too loud, let me know. Let me know. As y'all coming in, man, hit that like button and drop a comment in the chat. Strix Genius, what's going on? Happy Sunday, family. Happy Sunday. Easy like Sunday morning. Hope everybody doing good on this Sunday. Look, man, I was thinking about something earlier. Which, you know, kind of influenced this topic, but steady wins the race. A lot of times we hear slow and steady wins the race. But you know, not all people's steady pace is a slow pace. But as long as it's steady, it's gonna win the race. You know what I mean? So let's talk about it. You know, this is just mindset. But as y'all coming in, man, let me know where y'all tuning in from, man. Drop a comment in the chat. Let me know y'all can hear me, all that good stuff. And please hit that like button. But I was thinking about, right, I'm pretty sure I done told this story on this channel before. But for those of y'all who are new tuning in, I want to reiterate this story because it's a great point with it. Hold on, let me fix my tripod. All right, there we go. Yeah, man. So I was thinking about this story, right? When I was a young sergeant in the United States Army, right? And I was stationed at Fort Lee, Virginia. And Fort Lee, Virginia is a training base for like soldiers who are in their advanced training school, learning their jobs. And so I was a young E5, you know, and what we would have to do is we would have to do PT, what they call PT, physical training, with the students, right? With the privates. And so, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, run day. Those are run days. Tuesdays and Thursdays are muscle, you know, focus more on strength. You know, so you're working your muscle groups, lifting weights, whatever it is, working your core. But I used to hate run days. I ain't had no problem with strength. I ain't had no problem with that. But I used to hate run days. But this one particular Monday, my platoon sergeant, she wanted to run like 5 miles. You know, and I was just like, you know, you coming off a weekend, you don't want to run 5 miles, man. You don't even want to run 1 mile. And so it was probably maybe like 7 of us in the group. And so she told us where we going and everything like that, the whole layout. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm like, okay, cool. And in my mind, I already made up. I'm like, man, I'm just going to keep a steady pace, bro. I ain't trying to race. I ain't trying to do none of that. So we start off, right? Everybody start off, you know, people taking off. I'm talking about everybody just taking off. You know, they shoot past me. Even her. And so we running, you know what I'm saying? I'm running at a steady pace. Like I said, I'm letting everybody pass me. But I'm just keeping a steady pace. I'm not going too slow, but I'm not going too fast. I'm going at a comfortable pace. And so the whole time she yelling at me, Sergeant Wilson, blah, blah, blah. You know, so I'm like, it's cool. You know, here come mile 2. You see what I'm saying? Because when you first start, like a lot of people don't realize, man, when you first start and you try to go fast, you burn yourself out. And I've learned that over my time, you know, in the military running and stuff like that. I learned, man, do not start off in a sprint because you're gonna burn out of gas real quick. And so I made up in my mind, I'm gonna go at a steady pace. So like I say, you know, mile 1, everybody, you know what I'm saying, doing their thing. They ain't too far ahead of me, but everybody ahead of me. Like I can see them, you know, they at a distance. And you know, she talking crazy, people talking crazy, whatever. And so mile 2, I started to inch closer. Because they running out of gas. Mile 3, I pretty much done caught up to half of the people. I done caught up to half of everybody. So I'm like in the middle now. Mile 4, I'm in the lead. And mile 5, I mean, I done finished before everybody. And I maintained the same pace. And close towards the end, I was able to increase my speed because I didn't burn out. Let me know if y'all can still hear me with all this rain. Let me know if y'all can still hear me, because I know this rain kind of loud. So I want to make sure y'all can hear me before I keep going, because I can go in the garage if need be. Let me know if y'all can hear me in the chat. Also, please hit that like button. Please hit that like button. Let me know if y'all can hear me over this rain. Absolutely, sounds good, brother. Appreciate it. What's going on tonight, Wade? All right, yeah, I just wanted to make sure. So that story right there always reminds me why steady is the way to go. Not just in a race, not just in, you know, you thinking physical activity, whatever, you know, but no, steady. We all heard the race of the tortoise versus the hare. We've all heard that. But just in general and in life, a steady pace will always get you to where you want to go. A steady pace. And the reason why I don't say slow and steady wins the race is because your steady doesn't have to be slow. Everybody's steady pace looks different. Steady is your rhythm. So whatever rhythm you muster up and you can maintain over a long period of time is your steady. And that might not necessarily be slow. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Exactly. It's all about getting yourself in the rhythm. So as I was running that it wasn't even a race. It was just regular, you know, PT. But as I was running, I had it in my mind. I was like, I'm going to pass all them. I knew I was going to pass all them. What's going on, Milan? Shalom. I knew I was going to pass them all because earlier on in my career, like we used to have what you would call a 5K race, right? In the Army. It's like a 5K race. And so, you know, everybody on post, everybody on base. What's going on, John Stewart? Steady no good when a lion is chasing your ass. Yeah, but a lion ain't always chasing you. You know what I mean? A lion ain't always chasing you. But, you know, we used to have what you call a 5K run. And so, like, everybody on base from all different units, we would all get together and we would all do this 5K race. And, you know, you come in first place, second place, third place, you get a prize. And so what I would do, hey, you can get off my live, John Stewart. You can get off. Yeah, you can go on to the next one. You can go on to the next live. Yeah, you can go on to the next live. But yeah, so I learned early in my career, because I used to start these 5K races. You collecting rainwater. Not yet, man. I want to start, but nah, I ain't got there yet. I got a well on my property, though. And with these 5K races, what I would do, as soon as you know they blow the whistle, I take off fast, right? I take off real fast, and boy, I wouldn't even get a mile in before I'm tired. I'm burnt out. Everybody passed me, so I learned earlier on, there's no you know reason to try to sprint. There's no reason to try to sprint when this thing is like a marathon. And how do you win a marathon, or really how do you finish a marathon? Because it's not even really about winning a marathon. Because everybody who finishes the marathon wins. Because a lot of people aren't necessarily into running marathons for, oh, I want to win first, second place. Some people are, don't get me wrong, but a lot of people like to do it just to prove to themselves that they can finish a marathon. And when you prove that to yourself, you've already won. But people who run marathons, they understand it's not about a sprint. It's not about how fast you go. It's about how steady you can go and what you can maintain. Deontay Murray, what's going on? It's about what you can maintain. So a lot of times in life, we'll see somebody and they may be sprinting, and we're comparing our jog or our airborne shuffle or our steady pace to their sprint. What's going on, Summer? I just run my 5K last week. Congratulations, man. I actually want to get back into running. That's something that I stopped doing when I got out the military. That's something I stopped doing. I hated running. But, man, I'm going to tell you something. Cardio is the best exercise if you want to lose weight fast. Cardio is the best exercise. If you run a mile a day, I guarantee you'll lose the weight you want to lose. Cardio will get that weight up off you. But a lot of times, we are comparing our slow and steady, or really just our steady, to someone else's sprint. Or someone else's steady that may be faster than ours. And so we're looking to the right and to the left, and we're looking ahead of us, and we're seeing people go further, faster, not realizing, hey, they might be burning themselves out. What they're doing might not be sustainable, but you're just so caught up on where you're at in the race that you're not realizing that, because you want to be where they are. That's why it pays to stay in your own race and stay in your own lane and keep that rhythm, because your rhythm can only be your rhythm. It's unique to you. I was number 1,004, but came in 141. Man, took 24 minutes. Man, congratulations. Congratulations. What made you want to run it? Are you like a regular runner? Are you a regular runner, or is it just something that you just wanted to get back into or get into for the first time? You know what I mean? But what we don't realize is that your rhythm and your steady is unique to you. And you can make it work for you. And this is the thing, what people don't realize is that when you get your rhythm down pat, and when you get your steady pace down pat, you can increase over time. Because once you've mastered your steady, then you can add to it as you see fit. And so whether it is, like I said, when I was running that 5 miles, when I got to like the end of it, toward the end, mile 4, I was energized enough to say, you know what, I can increase the speed a little bit. I can turn up a little bit. I got more gas in my tank. Because when you just start out the gate and you say, man, I wanna run like everybody else is running, you might not have that gas in your tank. You see what I'm saying? You might not have that gas to spin. But when you say, okay, man, I know I'm working with a half a tank right now, so let me just go at this rate, and then when I get closer to my destination, I can speed up if need be. I don't for a couple people, but also because I know I can. And stuff like that. This is so motivational. Thank you. Most definitely. That's what I try to do. I try to just give real life, advice, scenarios, and just free game that applies to everyday life. Because a lot of times we think our steady, it isn't getting us anywhere. But as long as you're in motion, you getting somewhere. As long as you have some sort of motion, you are getting somewhere. You might be a content creator and you might only be getting 10 views on your video, but guess what? That's 10 more than 0. So you got 10 people, up to 10 people looking at your content. So as long as you are in motion, you are moving forward, you are getting somewhere. But when you start trying to say, well, I'm gonna try to do this, I'm gonna try to do X, Y, and Z to copy this person, that's not sustainable for you over a long period of time, because that's not your speed. So now you're running at somebody else's speed and wondering why you keep getting burnt out. You feel what I'm saying? Because see, I'm gonna tell you something. This is what a lot of times how we trick ourselves. We trick ourselves by thinking that intensity is more important than consistency. If that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. We trick ourselves by thinking that intensity is more important than consistency. Because when you are intense at something, let's just say for a week straight, you put in a whole bunch of work. That right there, it is encouraging, it is motivating. It is adding to your, your sense of well-being and feeling good. But at the same time, after that week of you going hard, the next week you don't do nothing. And then the next week after that, you barely do anything. So did it really matter that you went this hard? Versus if you kept the same pace over a 5-week span and did the same exact thing every day that wasn't too much for you, but was consistent enough to get you in motion, which one is better? I choose consistency every time. I choose consistency every time. Consistency beats intensity. But there will be times where you are able to be, have that intense work or have that intensity, because you've been consistent for so long that now you could add a little bit more, and you could put a little bit more in. You can afford to do that. I don't for a couple of people or so much. I do it for a couple of people in my family that can't walk. Okay, I got you. Yeah, man. Congratulations on that 5K though. But consistency beats intensity every time. And so the quicker we learn our rhythm and get it in a consistent manner, I'm telling you, it's the quicker you will be able to get to where you want to be in life. Because there's something called a compound effect. There's something called a compound effect. When it comes to, like, say, investments, for example, when you have, a certain amount of money in an investment over a period of time, it's going to gain compound interest. No matter how small or how large that investment is, it's still going to grow at the end of the day. And there was this analogy. I forget the book that I read it in, but it was basically talking about, and I'm loosely translating, right? But it basically was talking about, would you rather have $8 million up front or a penny day double every day for 30 days? Meaning a penny that doubles every day for 31 days. So day one, you know, you start with 1, then the next day 2, then 4, then 8, and then multiply so on until you get to the, you know, 31 day mark. A lot of people would choose the $8 million out the gate, not realizing that the penny they double every day for 31 days will get you way more than $8 million at the end, because of the compound interest. Matter of fact, I think it's called The Compound Effect, the book that I'm talking about. It's called The Compound Effect, if I'm not mistaken. If somebody's on this live and you know what book I'm talking about, is it called The Compound Effect? If you know what I'm talking about. But that's just an example of compounding interest in the compound effect in work. So when you put your efforts in every day over the course of a period of time, the results will compound in your favor. So what you receive back, it'll compound over time if you just remain consistent over that period of time that you need to be consistent for. So let's just say you putting out videos, you know, every day or, you know, multiple times a week for a year, 2 years. At first, it's not going to seem like much. It's going to like, oh, okay, I got a couple hundred views here, 1,000 views here on a lucky day, on a good video, a real good video. But as time goes on, you know, over the course of that year or 2 years, when you get to the end, the hat gives slavery. Man, get off my live, bro. Ryan George, get off my live. Get off my live. But I ain't got time for trolls, bro. I don't really care for all that. But man, he done made me lose my train of thought, man. That got me. But anywho, towards that end of that 2 years, right? Towards the end of that 2 years, the compound that you see from the consistency that you put in is gonna yield way more in return. So toward the end of that 2 years, where at the beginning you was used to getting maybe 50 views a video, 100 views a video, now you getting 20,000 views a video. Now you getting 50,000 views a video because of what? The consistency and the interest that compounded over time. Because what? You found the steady, you know it, dude. That's why you laugh. No, it actually don't. And I wasn't laughing at that. Yeah, by Darren Hardy. Okay, you know what I'm talking about, Deontay. Yeah, we keeping it productive, Ryan George. You can go to the next live, though. You don't got to be on this live, bro. But yeah, Darren Hardy, The Compound Effect. That's the book I'm referring to. That's a real good book if y'all ever get a chance to read it. That's a real good book. But yeah, so like when you first started this consistency and this rhythm that you had to get used to at first, at the beginning, it wasn't giving that return on investment like you thought it would. But over the course of a year, 2 years, 5 years, now you getting. I just made a comment, dang. Okay, I ain't gonna be so sensitive about it, but I just ain't like it. I ain't like that comment. But you don't gotta leave. You ain't gotta leave. But just let's keep it. Let's keep it positive. That's all I'm asking. Cause I'm trying to give real good advice, man. I'm trying to give real life advice. And you probably not a troll, but it be a lot of trolls on my live. That's why I respond like that when I feel like somebody trolling. Okay, I'm black. You black, by the way. Okay, well, what's up, bro? What's up? But as long as you feel where I'm coming from, that's all that matters. I just want to keep it positive. You know what I mean? My daddy gave me this hat. Okay, I got you. All right, I got you. Yeah, my daddy gave me this hat, man. So I don't be too fine when people be trying to make fun of it. But yeah, man, that's all I'm saying is when you get your rhythm and when you figure out your rhythm in life, first off, comparison is the killer of joy. So when you get a consistent rhythm that's working for you, don't go out and start just comparing yourself to other people because you see them in a season where they can afford to sprint. You see them in a season where they can afford to be intense and they can handle more. Whereas you're not necessarily there yet. You feel what I'm saying? You're not necessarily there. So that's why it's important that you just stay with your motion and your rhythm and your steady pace. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, we can really get in our way sometimes. We can really get in our way sometimes, and I'm no exemption from that because it's like you ever been doing something And it's been working, not to the point to where it's like, oh, it's blowing up, but it's working. And you seeing results. You seeing everyday results. You seeing, and I'm gonna just use content creation for an example because that's something that I feel like a lot of people can relate to. You know what I mean? Especially in this day and age, the content creation game is kind of taking off. So let's just say as a content creator, you're doing something and you're in a niche and you're in the area and you have your specific, you know, kind of trademarks, if you will, your unique personality. You know what I mean? And you doing something and it's working. You ain't going viral. You ain't getting no millions or even hundreds of thousands of views, but it's working. You getting 100 views consistently, 200 views, like maybe 500 on a good day, 1,000 on a real good day. And it's working for you and you seeing the results, but it's not your subscribers climbing, but it's not what you think. And so you look to the left and to the right and you see this person, man, they just made this video or they just did this trend or whatever, and now they getting hundreds and thousands of views. And so you think, okay, maybe I need to switch to that. Maybe I need to see what they're doing and copy that. And then you do that, and then you mess your whole thing up. You mess your whole motion up. You mess your whole momentum up. Because one thing about momentum is that when you lose it, it's hard to get it back. When you get to a point to where you pedaling on a bicycle and you barely have to pedal because you've got the momentum up, and then you slow down and you get to a place to where that momentum has slowed down, it's going to be a lot harder to pedal again, to start back getting that same momentum, because now you got to put in more work. You see what I'm saying? So when you lose that momentum that you had, it's harder to get it back. That's why it's important to just capitalize on the momentum that you already getting. If you get in 100 views, continue to stay steady and continue to make minor tweaks and learn and look at your analytics and do certain things to where you can appeal to a wider audience and you can optimize your SEO, which is your search engine optimization. You can optimize that type of stuff. And you know, those little tweaks can double that 200 to 400. And then that 400 can double to 800 when you make more tweets. And then eventually you're going to be getting that 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 views that you know, so rightfully deserve. But when you say, okay, I'm going to stop doing this, I'm going to shelf this, what I've been doing, and I'm going to just pivot and I'm going to do a hard pivot and go right here, then you messing up. Because now you got to learn that momentum and that pace that that person that you copying or trying to copy is doing. Right, amen. Talk to you later. Stay blessed. Yeah, most definitely, man. Stay blessed. And again, congrats on completing that 5K. And much success to you in the future, man, if you keep running and doing marathons and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's all I'm saying, man. Get used to your steady. Understand what your steady is, and continue and just maximize on it. Just maximize on it and stop looking to the left and to the right and stop confusing. Like there's a song that I like. It's called Unshaken. And in the song, the guy says, you compare your current role to the highlights of somebody's life. And man, when I first heard it, man, it struck me. I was like, dang, man, that's so true. So many people do that, including myself. You compare your current situation and your current role in life to the highlight. Oh, hey, Deontay, appreciate it, bro. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you, man. Shout out to Deontay for that. Shout out to Deontay for that, man. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you. But you compare your current role, you compare your current situation to somebody else's pinnacle, right? You compare just your up and coming and, you know, your beginning, your humble beginning to somebody else's pinnacle or their mountaintop. And that's so unfair to you, because while you're comparing that, you don't realize that your pinnacle is going to be a lot higher than that person. And not trying to compare and not trying to diminish, but what I'm saying is your mountaintop has the potential to be even greater than theirs was if you looked at them and just got inspired rather than comparing yourself to that person, or, you know what I'm saying, or to that business or whatever it is you comparing yourself to. Black people always preaching or cooking on these lies. All right, now for you, Danny, you can get off my live for real. You can get off my live for real. And why you worry about black people? Are you black? Why non-black people always be worrying about what black people doing? Go, you know, go somewhere else. But, you know what I mean? But anyways, man, I'm just saying we got to stop comparing our current role to the highlight of somebody's life. We got to stop comparing our humble beginning to somebody else's end result and what they worked so hard for. Why you pissed off? I'm not pissed off. You ain't see me get mad or nothing. I just told you can move around. You can move along. And I just told you why you worrying about business that don't concern you. I ain't go searching for you. You on my live. Hey, somebody block that dude. Talking about pissed off. I ain't pissed off. I just don't like when people be minding business that ain't got nothing to do with them. But yeah, so again, y'all, get your steady pace. You know what I mean? And stick to it. Stick to it and understand it gets easier. Like when you get to a place to where you're used, you used to the pace you going at and you used to the rhythm, then you can increase as you see fit. Then you can say, okay, man, I've been doing good for so long. I've been making 100,000 a year in my business. Now let me try to see what I can do to make 150. Let me try to see how I can make an additional 50,000 a year. You see what I'm saying? Or I'm making, 5,000 a month in my business. Let me see how I can increase it to 7,000 and see how I can make that extra $2,000 because I've been consistent in making this $5,000. So now I'm pretty sure, I'm most likely sure that I can make some small changes to increase that to an extra 2,000 a month instead of trying to go from 5 to 50 because you see they making 50 and you done heard, oh, they make 50, this is what they did to make 50 grand in their business, and now you trying to go for 50 when you just only used to 5 instead of trying to say, okay, let me try to increase to 7 and see how that works, and then once I get that, then I can increase to 14 and then I can, you know what I'm saying? Like, but when you try to pivot too hard too quick, it's never good. It's never good. Like, just think about if you in a car, you know what I'm saying, and you try to make a sharp turn. What's gonna happen? The car gonna almost flip over. It's gonna tilt over. It's gonna be bad on your tires for you to make that hard pivot, for you to make that hard turn, that sharp turn. It's the same thing in life. It's the same thing in business. When you try to make sharp pivots, now don't get me wrong, there are some cases where you may need to make a sharp pivot. There are some cases, but those cases are few and far in between. Those cases are not common where you may need to make a sharp pivot. But most of the time, it's only small, minor tweaks that you need to do. And that sharp pivot can cost you everything. That sharp pivot can cost you that momentum that you had. Thank you, G Mama. I appreciate that. Thank you, G Mama. Yeah, cause I don't be with the trolling, man. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that. And I really ain't like an internet person. I just do this because this is my calling for real. And I feel like people benefit from hearing these lies and these messages and things like that. Just this game that I'm giving. But I ain't really no internet type person where I be, you know what I'm saying, with the trolling. I'm not really like that. So thank you, G Mama, for that. I appreciate that. But again, like, sprints burn you out. Don't confuse intensity, and think it's better than consistency, because consistency wins at the end of the day. Like I said, we've all heard the story of the tortoise versus the hare. The hare thought, oh man, I'm fast, I can do this, you know what I'm saying? But the tortoise, he's slow, I'm gonna pick at him, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go take a nap, I'm gonna do that. And then that tortoise just said, okay, keep talking, well, I'm gonna keep moving. Keep talking, I'm gonna just keep moving. And that's the thing. While everybody else is talking and speculating, just keep moving forward. And then before you know it, they're going to look up and say, dang, they done got far. Dang, I remember when they were saying, they wanted to do YouTube. I can remember when they only had 50 subscribers. Now they got 5,000. Now they got 10,000. Now they got 15,000. Now they making a living off of that. Because what was they doing? They was in their rhythm. They was in their rhythm. One foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. That's what, like, bro, I remember one time, they made us run. I was stationed in Hawaii at this time. They made us run the it wasn't a marathon, but it was like a half marathon. It was called the Aloha Race. They made us run that, right? The whole base. I was stationed on Schofield Barracks. The whole base on Schofield Barracks. They made all the soldiers run that. And we didn't have a choice, pretty much. Because, they wanted to look good and stuff like that. The command did. So they made all the soldiers, we had to be to the field at like 3:30, get bus downtown Hawaii, and we, but basically this was probably like a 10-mile run. This is like a 10-mile run, bro, no lie. But what was going through my head while I was running that, while I was getting prepared to run that race? Just one foot in front of the other. One foot in front of the other. That's all I was thinking my whole time running. Just put one foot in front of the other. That's all you got to do. And, you know, one thing about the Army, you know, when you running, you in formation, you gonna sing cadences and different things like that to kind of get you through, you know, the race and get you through the running, you know, and to kind of keep you motivated. But the whole time, every time I ran, the only thing that was in my mind, just put one foot in front of the other. And eventually you're gonna get there. Eventually you're gonna get to where you want to be. Eventually you're gonna get to the end. Eventually you're gonna reach the finish line. All you gotta do is put one foot in front of the other. It's like the saying, they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You just keep taking one bite at a time, and eventually you look up, the elephant gone. That's the same thing. Okay, you got this goal. All right, so what do? I just move one step ahead at all times. And then before you know it, you done made so many steps ahead that you done got to that destination that you want to be at. So that's what it is, but you got to have a rhythm in your mind as you're doing this. Like, just keep going, just keep doing this, just keep doing that. And eventually you're going to get there. But when you, I wonder who that is over there crying. That's probably Luna. Got to let him out in a minute. But that's what it is, man. You know, I just want to come on here and encourage y'all, stop comparing somebody else's sprint or really your steady pace to somebody else's sprint. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it. That's all. We at 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. So I'm going to go let these dogs out. But I hope this message benefited you. If you catching the replay of this, please hit that like button. Also, drop a comment, man, on some things you want to talk about. We could talk about specific things, or we could just talk about, you know, just mindset. It don't really matter, you know, but I just want to appreciate that, G-Mama. Yeah, but I just want to benefit y'all. I just want to be a benefit to y'all. But again, man, like I always say, he who has the power to feed you also has the power to start you. Man, y'all go enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday, and let's hit the ground running this week, man. I'll see y'all on the next one.